Welcome to my YouTube channel. To all of my subscribers that have been supporting this channel, you guys are awesome. And if you are dropping by for the first time, like this video, hit the subscribe button, strike the bell notification so that you will be the first to know when I create new content. Thank you very much as you do so. Within every organization, the human resource is the most important resource. And that is why in the last couple of videos, we focused on identity and access management. And we specifically zoomed in on user management. Now, in this set of videos, beginning with this one, we are going to be looking at the next most important resource, which is the data resource. So we're going to be talking about everything data related, how we can secure our data, how we can discover our data, how we can manage our data, and we're going to be looking specifically at how Microsoft Purview does that for us in the appropriate way. So please stay tuned as we dive in to the beginning of this video and we begin to discover what Microsoft Purview can do for us within our data resource management. Thank you very much as you do so. All right, in this week's video, we are going to be looking at something very new, data related. We're going to be talking about Microsoft Purview and we're going to be discussing data security. So how will we proceed? We're going to be discussing what data security is, and we're going to ask ourselves a question. Why do we need to secure our data? Why is securing data critical? We're going to be looking also at the different aspects of data security. We're going to talk about Microsoft Purview, and then we are going to be focusing on data discovery in Microsoft Purview as we begin to prepare to get into the Microsoft Purview compliance portal. So let us begin. So what is data security? Well, with modern businesses, the most important resource is the human resource, while data is arguably the most critical non-human resource. That means that data security is a critical aspect of managing and protecting digital information. And it involves a range of practices that are designed to safeguard data from unauthorized access, corruption, or theft throughout the entire life cycle of that data. And that's going to include the protection of data in transit or at rest, but it also involves the implementation of measures that ensures data integrity and availability. The concept of data security encompasses a broad spectrum of information security policies, which include physical security measures for hardware and storage devices, administrative controls, and logical security for software applications. So, a robust data security framework will ensure the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of critical data, thereby safeguarding an organization's intellectual property, protecting its reputation, and maintaining the trust of customers and stakeholders. Now, why data security? Within the enterprise environment, there's a vast array of sensitive information that is crucial for the operation and the reputation of the business. Now, this data would range from personal customer data details to proprietary business insights, and that's going to be forming the backbone of many modern enterprises. Now, the compromise of such information could lead to dire consequences, which could include significant financial losses, legal liabilities, and a severe erosion of customer trust and loyalty. Now, these repercussions will underscore the importance of robust data security challenges or data security strategies to protect against the multifaceted threats that's posed by cyber criminals, insider threats, and human error. And the landscape of data security is a complex one, and it is constantly evolving, with regulatory bodies across the globe continually updating and tightening data security frameworks. And compliance with these regulations is no longer merely a legal checkbox, but it has become a critical element of an organization's value proposition, which is going to be distinguishing it in a competitive market. Then organizations will then prioritize data security, and they not only need to adhere to legal mandates, but of course they also have to send signals to their customers and their partners that they are committed to safeguarding sensitive information. And to navigate this landscape, a comprehensive approach to data security is very important. And that includes deployment of advanced cybersecurity technologies, regular security audits, employee training programs, and the establishment of clear policies and procedures for data handling and breach response. Encryption, access control, network security, and data loss prevention are some of the technical measures that can be employed to protect against external and internal threats. Also, fostering a culture of security awareness within an organization is equally important in order to mitigate the risk that is associated with human error. Then, of course, the integration of data security into the business continuity and disaster recovery plan is going to be ensuring that organizations can quickly respond to and can recover from any security incidents without significant disruption to operations. Now, this resilience is not going to only protect the organization from immediate harm, but it's also going to be contributing to the long-term sustainability and trust building with stakeholders. All in all, effective data security is a multifaceted endeavor requiring a strategic blend of technology, policy, and culture. So, if we implement a complementary or a comprehensive data security measure, organizations can protect their valuable information assets, maintain compliance with evolving legal obligations, and uphold the trust of their customers and partners. In so doing, they not only secure their current operations, but they also pave the way for future growth and success within a digital economy. Next, we are going to be looking at the different aspects of data security. Well, like we said, data security is a critical aspect of data management. And of course, it involves the collection, the evaluation, and the connection of data from different sources. It is important for cleaning, for preparing, and sharing complex data across an organization, and also for performing data analysis to be able to understand insights into the business processes. Now, data classification will complement data security because it's going to be categorizing data based on its type, on its sensitivity, and its value to the organization. And that is important for understanding the data risk and implementing controls to mitigate those risks. Then data loss prevention is a security solution identifying and helping to prevent unsafe and inappropriate sharing, transfer, and use of sensitive data. It is important for monitoring and protecting sensitive information across various platforms for achieving compliance with regulations such as HIPAA and GDPR. And then information barriers are compliance solutions restricting communication and collaboration between groups to avoid conflicts of interest and to safeguard internal information often used in highly regulated industries. So together, all of these aspects form a comprehensive approach to managing and protecting an organization's data assets. So we're going to be looking at the particular tool that we're going to be using to showcase data security, and that is Microsoft Purview. So what is Microsoft Purview? Microsoft Purview is a unified data governance service helping organizations to manage and secure their data across various environments, from on-premises to multi-cloud and even software as a service applications. Now, what it does is that it integrates a range of solutions for data protection, compliance, risk management, and governance, and puts everything together in one single platform, offering a suite of tools that provide visibility into data across the organization, enabling businesses to understand and to govern their data landscape effectively. It also extends beyond the traditional perimeters, securing data across various platforms, applications, and devices with features like data classification, data loss prevention, and information barriers. Now, Purview empowers enterprises to be able to identify sensitive data, monitor its movements, and enforce protection measures to prevent unauthorized access or leaks. Microsoft Purview allows businesses to gain visibility into their data, to understand how their data is used, and to ensure that it is protected and compliant with regulations. It includes tools for discovery, classification, and mapping, as well as solutions for data loss prevention and information protection and risk management. Now, it also provides capabilities for data lifecycle, ensuring privacy, and facilitating data sharing and collaboration. And it is designed to address the challenges of data fragmentation, lack of visibility, and evolving roles in IT management, providing a comprehensive approach to data security and governance. So, next, we are going to be looking at data discovery in Purview. Now, data management, like we said, is a very important aspect of organizational security and efficiency. And there are a series of steps that we have to go take in order to understand what is going on with our data. And the first step is to conduct a comprehensive data discovery involving identifying the types and volumes of data within our system, understanding the nature and location of sensitive data, which is very important in order to formulate a robust protection and governance policy. Now, this foundational knowledge not only helps in risk assessment, but it also informs the strategic approach to data security. Initiating this journey with thorough data classification across various environments is going to set the stage for effective data management and compliance with regulatory standards. Next, we are going to be looking at information protection, which is a critical aspect of data management within the digital landscape in today's businesses. A Microsoft approach to this challenge involves a comprehensive suite of tools that's designed to help organizations safeguard their sensitive information. And by integrating discovery, classification, and protection capabilities, Microsoft enables businesses to maintain control over their data. The flexibility of these tools will allow for a range of protective measures such as visual markings for easy identification, encryption for securing data, and access restrictions to ensure that only authorized persons can view or modify the content. Now, this multi-layered strategy is important for mitigating risks and maintaining compliance with regulatory standards. Ultimately, it's going to foster a secure environment for data operations. And then, of course, data lifecycle management and records management are integral components of a comprehensive data governance strategy. DLM ensures that data is handled efficiently all through the life cycle of the data, from its creation to the deletion, allowing us to optimize storage and optimize access while maintaining compliance with business policies and regulations. Now, on the other hand, records management focuses on maintaining records for legal, regulatory, and operational purposes, ensuring that critical information is preserved in an unalterable state for as long as it is necessary. Now, together, all of these practices will allow organizations to manage risks, to reduce costs, and to improve operational efficiency by providing a framework for making informed decisions about their data. And then Microsoft solutions in this area are designed to be not just robust and flexible, but also to accommodate the diverse needs of modern businesses in managing their data. Now, in the next part of this video, we're going to be getting into the Purview portal, and then we're going to be showcasing some of these capabilities of Microsoft Purview. So please stay tuned as we do that. Thank you for continuing to watch. So we are in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We want to get into the details of demonstrating some of the things we can do in the Microsoft Purview portal. So we can access the Microsoft Purview portal in a number of ways. One of the ways we can use in accessing the Microsoft Purview portal is to first go to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So I am in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We can access the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, of course, by going to admin.microsoft.com. You would need to have the appropriate license to be able to do certain things within Microsoft Purview. So, within the Microsoft Purview portal, I want to go to the left navigation pane and click on Show All. When I want to scroll down and go to All Admin Centers, and it gives us a list of all of the Microsoft 365, all of the admin centers you can access from Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Here we can see we have a lot of admin centers here. The one you want to choose to launch Microsoft Purview is to go ahead and click on compliance. So I'll just go ahead and click on the compliance link in the All Admin Centers page. So once I do that, as you can see, it launches in a new tab, and you can see here that it takes us to uh, the Purview portal, and then it begins to load some of the details. Like we can see, since it's the first time, it's going to be taking a few seconds to do its thing. So we'll just allow it that time to be able to do that. So it begins to load, and it takes us to the Welcome to the Microsoft Purview Compliance Center here. It gives us some details, and I want to go ahead and just click on Next. It talks about next steps, tells us to go ahead and explore new and improved tools for our data and compliance needs, assess and improve your compliance posture, and all of that. I want to also go ahead and click on Next, and of course it tells us all what we want to see here. It tells us this is the beginning and all of that, and then I want to click on Done. So that's after I click on Done, you see it goes ahead to load some details. We've seen a welcome dialog screen giving us a brief overview of the experience. Of course, we've agreed to the usage terms, and then of course we can see all that is here. It shows us some details that we can use to work within Microsoft Purview. Now, another thing before we continue is we want to look at some of the appropriate roles that we need to have to be able to work with Microsoft Purview. So I've switched back to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, because that's where we will be assigning the possible roles. So I'll go ahead and expand users. I'll go ahead and expand active users. Now I want to assign one of the users I've got here with the appropriate permissions, which we are going to see in the next couple of minutes. So I'll just click on Adele here. I'll select the username, and it opens the flyout menu to the left. Now, within the flyout menu for Adele, I want to scroll down to the area here where we want to look at the roles for this user. So I'll go ahead and click on under roles. I'll click on manage roles. So I'll go ahead and select that. And we can see here, like before, we can see we have different kinds of roles. We want to select admin center access. And then I want to scroll down to the security and compliance area. So I want to scroll all the way down to the S entries. And then I want to select show all by category. And then we'll scroll down to security and compliance. And we can see here we've got all of the appropriate roles. We've got attack payload author, attack simulation administrator, Azure information protection administrator. We can see all of those details here. So I want to assign the user Azure information protection administrator, and I'll then go ahead and click on next. And click on save changes. So those are some of the things that we can do within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to be able to assign the appropriate permissions to users within the Purview compliance portal. Now, so that's the first way we can access Purview. So another way is I'll just go ahead and open a new tab, and I'll go to a URL here. I'll type in the URL directly, and the URL I want to use here is compliance.microsoft.com, which is where I want to go ahead and click on. So once I click on that, again, like before, opens up pretty much the same portal for us. And of course, if we go to the home page, we can see what we saw before. So there are different ways that we can use to access Microsoft Purview. We can go from Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and again, we can directly go and type in the appropriate URL. And that URL in this case, of course, is the URL that is highlighted now, which is compliance.microsoft.com. So those are the two ways. And the next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be diving deeper into some of the details of Microsoft Purview. And as we are going to go on, we are going to be explaining it all through as we demonstrate. All right, so we are back to the home page of Microsoft Purview, and we want to begin to talk about data classification. So I'll just go right there to data classification, and I'll go to the overview page of data classification here. Now, we can see here that Microsoft Purview gives us a comprehensive data classification system. We can see we've got different kinds of trainable classifiers used within our context. We have different kinds of sensitive information types. But as you can see, there is nothing here. That is because we've just gotten into the portal. This is a brand new tenant. So like I was saying, we have a comprehensive data classification system that allows us to categorize and manage our data effectively. This overview page here gives us a foundational understanding of how data can be classified into different kinds of categories based on, of course, based on our business context. And that's going to be allowing data governance and data protection. So let's go ahead and look at the different kinds of classifiers we have. I'll just go ahead and select the classifiers page, and the classifiers page loads. As we can see, there are three tabs. We are talking about the three different categories of classifiers here. We can see trainable classifiers. We can see sensitive info types, which is the next tab, and then we can see EDM classifiers, or exact data match classifiers. So we'll talk about trainable classifiers here. So what are they? Trainable classifiers allow for the creation of custom classifiers that can categorize different types of content, and they do that by analyzing samples. Now, these classifiers can be trained in order to identify items for the application of things like sensitivity labels, compliance policies, and retention label policies. So that takes us to the next one, which is the SIT, or the sensitive info type. Now, sensitive info types here are pre-configured or custom pattern-based classifiers. Now, what these classifiers do is that they detect sensitive information. Information could be maybe social security number, credit card number, bank account details, passport number, and it's going to be helping us to prevent inadvertent data sharing of sensitive information. As you can see here, we've got a whole lot. We can see different types. But again, if this doesn't suit our purpose, we'll go ahead and create one, which is what we'll be doing in a minute. And that takes us to the next one, which is the EDM classifiers. Now, EDM classifiers, or exact data match based classifiers, will take the step of data classification further, because it allows for the creation of custom SITs that refer to exact values in a database of sensitive information, which can be refreshed daily in order to remain current and applicable. So all of these tools we have here in Microsoft Purview, specifically data classification, is going to be giving us a framework for data management, which will be ensuring that sensitive information is not just identified or classified, but is also protected across an organization's digital estate. So now that takes us to the business that we want to do here, and that is we want to go ahead and create a custom sensitive information type. And earlier on said that we already have some pre-created ones, but if those ones do not suit our purpose, we can go ahead and create one. So I'll go ahead and create one right here, and just click on create info type. and the process of creating it starts. It's trying to load the appropriate page. So it prompts us to give our sensitive information type a name. So we can say, for example, Litware employee ID, for example. So we'll just give the description and say this is an SIT for Litware employee identification, for example. So that's basically what we'll do. It gives us more or less a wizard click-through interface. So I'll go ahead and click on next, and that takes us to the next page here. Now, within the next page, it prompts us to define patterns for this sensitive information. Now, sensitive information types have some patterns, and each of these patterns will have to contain some things, such as primary elements and confidence levels. But of course, there are other things we can include, like we can include supporting elements, we can include additional checks in order to further refine the evaluation and the detection of patterns that are matched. So in this case, I want to go ahead and create a pattern. I can go ahead and click here. I'll go ahead and click here. So I'll go ahead and click on create a pattern, and it prompts me quickly to see to create a new pattern. It says at a minimum, a pattern should have a confidence level, and it prompts me with a default confidence level of high. I want to go ahead and leave it at that. And that takes me now next to the next point here, which is to create a primary element. So I'll go ahead and add a primary element. And the primary element I want to add is that of a regular expression. So I'll go ahead and click on regular expression, and it prompts me with a name. So since I'm talking about employee ID, I'll just go ahead and type it as employee ID right here. So for the regular expression, this is where I will be defining my regular expression. So I'll click there and I specify the regular expression I want to define. Now, this might look like it's a bit complicated, but just allow me a few seconds to break it down. So what we were doing here, what is going on here is that we have two square brackets and two curly brackets. Now we can see that within the square brackets, we have A to Z for the first one, and we have 0 to 9 for the second one. We also see that between the letters and the numbers, we have curly brackets, 3 in the first case and 6 in the second. So what does all this mean? It means that we should define a regular expression having 3 letters in capital, that is the capital A to Z, then followed by 6 numbers, that is the 0 to 9 and 6. So that's basically what this is telling us. So in this case, we want to define the regular expression to be a string match, and that's basically what we'll be doing here. We'll just go ahead and click on done. Click on done, and it prompts us now for character proximity. We want to say detect primary and supporting elements within, let's say, let's take this down to 100. 300 is a bit too much. So we want to reduce this to maybe 100, and just type 100 here, and then all right. So that is it, and we have options to detect it anywhere within the document and all of that, but I'll just leave everything the way it is, and I want to go ahead and click on create, and that takes us back to our wizard here. So we have a pattern and all of that, and then I want to go ahead and click on next. It takes me to choose a recommended confidence level to show in compliance policies. I want to go ahead and click on next, and it gives me a summary of all what I have done, and then I want to go ahead and click on create. It takes a couple of seconds to submit this, and then of course we will be able to see once it is successfully created. So let's just give it now. We can see that our sensitive information type has been created. All I have to go and do is to click on done, and we can actually come and search for it here, just go ahead and search for litware, and we can see that we now have the litware employee ID sensitive information type that we discussed. So next we are going to be doing some more stuff. We want to create an exact data match based classification information type, which is what we are going to be doing right in the next couple of seconds. So please continue to watch. Okay, so we want to move on to the next step, which is to create an EDM based classification information type. Now, before we do that, we need to go ahead and create a security group and add members to it. Now, I'm not going to run through that because I had already created a video that does that, but I'm just going to show you where the security group is, where you can go and click to create it, and all of that. So we'll go to Teams from the Microsoft 365. Sorry, from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We'll go to Teams and Groups. I'll go to Active Teams and Groups to open Active Teams and Groups. I want to ensure that the security group is selected. That's the tab there. And this is the group here. So I had created the group. If you want to create a group, all you have to do is just go ahead and click on Add Security Group and then follow the steps. Then this time around, I created a group called EDM Data Uploaders. And if you want to now go ahead and add members to the group, you go to the Members tab and then, of course, View and Manage Members. And then you want to go ahead and specify a member by adding a member. That's it. So back to the classifiers, back to the Purview console. We want to go ahead now and create an EDM classifiers group. So that's what we want to do in this situation. So all I've got to do is I want to go to EDM classifiers. Now I want to be using the classic menu, the classic console. So I want to turn off this. I want to turn this off. That's the new EDM experience. So I'll go ahead and click on turn off. And immediately I do that, it takes us to the classic experience here. And we want to now go ahead and create that. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create an EDM schema. By default, the EDM schema is selected. So I want to go ahead and click on create to create an EDM schema. Now I want to give it a name. I want to enter a friendly name. I just call it, since we are talking about employees, I'll call it an employee DB. So I'll give it that name of employee DB. And then I'll give it an optional description. Well, I'll call it a database schema for employees. So I'll just go ahead and create that. So I want to ensure that ignore delimiters and punctuations for all schema, that checkbox is checked. And then there is a drop-down menu here which says choose delimiters and punctuations to ignore. So I'll go ahead and choose the ones I want to ignore. The ones I want to ignore will be the hyphen, the period, the space, and then I want to scroll down to open parentheses and close parentheses. So those are the things I want to go ahead and ignore there. So I want to scroll down in the schema field name. For the first field, I want to add name right there, and it tells us that at least one schema field must be searchable. So I want to make this searchable. I want to make that field a searchable field, and immediately I do that, we can see that the error that was showing now goes away. So I want to go ahead now and add another data field for the schema. So within the data field, I want to go ahead and give it a name. And I want to call that a birth date. And then I want to go ahead and add some additional ones. I want to go ahead and add another one. So I'll scroll down and add a schema data field. And this time around, I want to add street address. Okay. And I want to scroll down again and add another data field. And this time around, I want to add employee ID. And I want to make the employee ID field searchable. And that's all I'll be doing in this environment for now. So I want to go ahead and click on save. Okay, so I've saved that. I'll go ahead and close this. And this time around, I want to, let's refresh and see. I want to go ahead now and add an EDM sensitive info type. So I select that and I want to create an EDM sensitive info type. Remember in the previous example, I created a schema. So I want to create now an EDM sensitive info type. So it opens the EDM it opens the EDM rule package wizard and it starts off with the define data store schema. And let's see, we also have the option here of specifying a schema, but for some reason our schema is not showing here. So we have to go back and be sure that our schema was properly defined. So our schema is now there. I'll just do a refresh and then we'll go back there and let's go ahead and start that afresh. So I'll go ahead and go to EDM info types again, and I want to create a sensitive info type. Okay. So I want to choose from an existing schema. And there we are now. We have the employee DB right here. And I want to go ahead and click on add. So we've added the schema. And here it tells us after we've added the schema, I want to review the database schema. Let's see. It gives us all of the details. You can see some of the details we added. And then I want to go ahead and click on next. Clicking on next here, it takes us to the define patterns for this EDM sensitive info type. So I want to go ahead and create a pattern. So I'll go ahead and click on create pattern. And of course, this flyout menu should be familiar to us by now. It opens the new pattern flyout right here. And in the primary element field, we want to go ahead and select employee ID as the primary element field. And after that, we want to go to the info type. And then we want to choose the sensitive info type. I remember we had defined an info type before, which we called litware. So I'll just go ahead and we can see here, I'll go ahead and select litware employee ID. And then I want to go ahead and click on done. So I want to, after clicking on done, within the new pattern here, I want to also go ahead and click on done. So that takes us to define patterns for this EDM sensitive info types page again. I want to go ahead and click on next. Now that takes me to the choose the recommended confidence level and character proximity here. So I'll just allow the defaults this time around, and I want to go ahead and click on next. Now it takes us to the name and describe your EDM sensitive info type. So I'll go ahead and enter a friendly name. I'll call it Lithware Employee EDM. And I'll give it a description such as EDM based SIT for employee PII. And that PII there is short for personally identifiable information. That's it. So I want to move on to click on next. Now it takes us to, again, like we had before, the review and finish. I want to go ahead and hit on submit. And it goes ahead to do the submission. It tells us that my EDM sensitive information type was created. I want to go ahead and click on done. So we want to create a custom keyword dictionary in Microsoft Purview. We want to include some words in the keyword dictionary that we don't want sent out in emails. For example, maybe if an employee calls in sick, we don't want the details of the illness to be included maybe in an email. So that's what we're going to be demonstrating here, and we're going to go ahead and test that. So we are still in the Microsoft Purview portal, and we are still logged in with the appropriate credentials. So here we want to go to classifiers. So we are in classifiers here, and we are still signed in with the sensitive info types selected. So I want to go ahead and click on create an info type. I'll give the info type a name. I'll give it a description. Okay, I'll click on next. It tells me to define a pattern for this sensitive info type like we did before. I'll click on create pattern. And I want to add a primary element, but this time around, I won't be selecting regular expressions. I'll be selecting keyword dictionary. So I'll go ahead and click on keyword dictionary. And then I want to give my keyword dictionary a name. I could rather give it any name I like, but I want to ensure that the name is, well, fairly descriptive. So I'll just call it, for example, disease dictionary. And I'll give a list of the diseases, of course, and I'm going to separate them by I'll put them on separate lines. So I'll say influenza. For example, I can say flu, I can say fever, I can say cold, I can say bronchitis, I can say, for example, so I just give a list. I can put as much of that list as I want. Once I'm done, I want to go ahead and click on done. And it's doing some, okay, so it takes us back to the new pattern page. So I want to go to the supporting elements. I'll scroll down to the supporting elements. Now, below the supporting elements, I want to add supporting elements to this group. And I want to go ahead and click on keyword list to add additional support for the keyword dictionary. So I'll click on keyword list. Now, in the add a keyword list page for the ID, I want to go ahead and enter employee, absence, and under case insensitive, I want to go ahead and add some entries such as employee, absence, and then reason. Okay, so after I've done that, that's all I'll be doing here. I'll go ahead and click on done. Now that takes me to the new pattern page. I'll look at the configuration and be sure that I'm happy with everything. And then I'll go ahead and click on create. So that takes me to, now I now have a pattern. It takes me to the defined patterns for this sensitive info type. I want to click on next. It takes me to the confidence level. Of course, I want to accept the default confidence level. I'll go ahead and click on next. And it takes me to the review. I'll go ahead and create this. So it goes ahead to review the settings. And once it's done, at the end, it will tell me, it tells me that my sensitive info type is created. So I'll click on done. So I'm back to the classifiers page, and I'm on the sensitive info tab. I want to go ahead and test what we've just done. So I'll go ahead and search. And then we have the lethware disease list, which is what we just created. I want to go ahead and test and see if there's going to be a match for what we've just done. So I just allow that to load. I'll click on the test button, and then I'll go ahead and upload the file. And that's the file. There's 6 test data. I'll go ahead and click on open, and then I'll hit on test. So we can see here that we've got matches. We've got low with 2 unique matches for flu and influenza. We have medium, also to flu and influenza, and then we have high. So that means that, of course, if we go ahead and deploy this policy, then the policy is going to be as we expect. So that's all we have for this episode. So thank you very much. Don't forget to drop your comments down below. And of course, I'm going to be doing my best to answer whatever questions you have. Thank you very much, and hope you learned something. Bye for now.